Are you stuck on how to outline your webinar? Well, I got you covered because I want you to watch this video lesson on how I break down the major sections of your webinar content. And if you would like more webinar and business advice, then subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that bell to be notified so that you will know when I post a new video each and every single week. Now, well, actually, before I do that, I want to give a huge shout out to the rooftops about my latest client who took me up on my newest offer titled A Day of Voxer. I am so proud of her, but let's read this testimonial. I rocked my webinar today thanks to you. I made 12 sales. Are you freaking kidding me? 12 sales? Back to the testimonial. It was a no-brainer. You made it easy and doable. Not bad in my opinion for a first try. Thank you, Aprille. This is crazy because you want to know how many sales I made on my very first webinar? Zip, zero, nada, nothing, goose egg. Of course, I didn't have the help and support like she did, but I teach and industry standards say that when you go out and host your very first webinar, that to not make even one sale is normal. So the fact that she made 12 is phenomenal. I am so proud of you, Elizabeth. And if you want to read the rest of Elizabeth's testimonial, you can read that at my website at www.aprille.com. Let's get back to the teaching content. Okay, so the outline would help you map out what you will be saying to your audience and what you're going to be teaching them. Your outline is vital to making sure you're giving value and will also help you ease into your offer in your webinar funnel. Now, I know you heard me say this on another video that your webinar comprises of 3 main parts, and here they are again. The intro, the story, and the offer. Now, think of your webinar like a funnel. Some people get worried as attendees drop off, but when conditions are just right, this is exactly what you want to happen. We want attendees to pre-qualify themselves so that those who actually do see your offer are more likely serious about seeking the help to their problem. Plus, think about it this way. Webinars are pretty common. People know what's up. Anyone who is left at the end wants to hear your offer. So you might be nervous about transitioning from the teaching to the selling, but don't, because the people that are left want to hear your offer. So give them what you got. All right, so the first one is the intro. Your introduction is the part of the webinar funnel where we build rapport and create a case for why they should attend the webinar and stay until the end. Okay, so your intro is divided into 3 parts. Part 1, build a case for your webinar. Part 2, teach the pain. And part 3, share your authority. Now, number 1, build a case for your webinar. This is where you're gonna make that big, bold promise, the one thing that what everybody wants and what everybody's gonna judge you on. And I think where most people get this wrong and where attendees feel like that their time has just been a complete waste on this webinar, and whether they feel like, it was a good use of their time, is judging you by whether or not you deliver on that promise. Number 2 is you want to teach the pain. So this is your who this is for section. I'm talking about teaching the pain and sharing where you are as it pertains to them and where you want and where you are now as where they want to be. So again, this is more about them than it is about you. And then number 3, you. And then number 3 is sharing your story. Everybody has an origin story. But don't share your story particularly here. Now, you've been on a webinar and the person starts that's my rendition of a violin, starts talking about their story, where they're from, how they got there and everything. And this is where you start rolling your eyes. Do not tell me this is not you. That is just me. Person gets to talking about their story, and 15 minutes later, I get up and I go use the bathroom, or I check CNN for the next coronavirus new case count. Don't judge me. You roll your eyes at this section too. You just want to get to the content. So you might be saying, so Aprille, when do I tell my story? Or don't I tell my story? Yeah, you tell your story, but you either tell it throughout the entire webinar, or you wait till the end at the Q&A when people do really give a crap about you. So I get it. Okay, so let's go on to number 2, the teaching content. So it's comprised of 1, introduce your system, 2, debunk their internal false beliefs, and 3, debunk their external false beliefs. We want to create doubt. We want to overcome objections while making sure we're staying true to what we promised in the intro section, which is the results that they are after. So what you're going to do is you're going to introduce your system, your method, your framework. The first thing you will teach is the step-by-step. Show them how your system works and demonstrate it. It's the solution that they've been looking for. Just don't tell them the system is good. Show them. Here you could tell a little bit of your origin story as it relates to your entire system. Now, the second thing you're going to teach is debunking their internal false beliefs. So you're going to teach the system, and then they will most likely have this false internal belief as to why they can't do it. So you're going to teach them why they can. And the third thing is you're going to teach, you're going to debunk their external false belief. Because they're going to have this notion that they can't do it for themselves. Maybe they lack support. Maybe they lack an email list, something like that. Something that they feel is beyond their control. And you're going to teach, wow, that's just bullshit. Now, I teach this section in a separate video. And if you want to learn more about the teaching part, you can check out this video in here. Yeah. And I also want to mention that I've written a comprehensive webinar workbook with actionable steps that will help you create and host your webinar in the next 30 days. So be sure to click the link in the description below. Now let's go on to 3, which is the offer. Your offer is the most important. Oh crap. Now let's go into the third, the offer. Your offer is the most important, which is why we start with creating it first. What's the main result do your attendees want solved? They are hungry for a solution. So make sure the result that they want, your offer and your webinar topic and your webinar title is in total alignment, which you should have this done watching my previous videos. So your offer is going to include a call to action.
So while I was editing this video that you're watching here, I realized that I forgot to teach the call to action and the trial closes. So I messed up in the clip that you saw earlier, and then I guess I just went right into the Q&A. So for this quick section, let's get into number 1, call to action. The first thing of your offer is the call to action. And what you want to do here is create the stack of your offer. And your offer is a list of your products, or if you are sending people to a discovery call, you will still need to stack your offer and present them in an even more irresistible way. Now, in an upcoming video, I will explain more about the stack. But let's get into trial closes. So you want to sprinkle trial closes in the offer section of your webinar and throughout your entire webinar. Now, trial closes are easy yeses you get your audience to commit to. It's been compared to the Pied Piper effect. Now, let me just briefly tell you a story and explain trial closes. When I was 21 years old, I applied at a car dealership to work in the finance department because I had a 4-year degree in accounting. But I don't know, somehow I got a job as a car salesperson, whatever. Anyway, one of the things that they taught us was trial closes. Now, I mean, obviously they didn't call it trial closes, but what we were supposed to do is when anytime somebody came on the lot, we would go to them and we would start a conversation. And every sentence that we said to them, we would always have to end the sentence in a question. These questions were significant because the questions were worded in a way that the other person would naturally have to say yes. So somebody would come and we would say to them, "Oh, it's such a beautiful day, isn't it?" And naturally the person would be like, "Yeah, yes, it is a beautiful day." Or we might ask the question, "You work hard and you really do deserve to take a break, don't you?" Yes, I do deserve to take a break. So we would ask these questions that would get the other person to say yes. And if we can get them to say yes multiple times, then they're just in condition to say yes, so that hopefully when we get to the cell, it's harder for them to say no. Okay, so now we're going to hop back into the original version of this video so I can talk about the third step, which is the Q&A.
Thirdly is the Q&A. Be sure to add a Q&A at the end of your webinar. Some people do 15 minutes, but I say hold a Q&A for as long as people have questions to ask you. Now, during your Q&A, that you can present your origin story of why you do what you do, if you didn't share it throughout the entire webinar. But this time people will actually give a hoot about you. Plus, with the lag in questions, telling the story will give you something to do during that dead air time. Now you know how to structure your webinar, but how do you actually deliver a webinar? Because this ain't your normal lecture here. How long should the webinar be? What's the best equipment? How is it set up? And on and on and on and on. So, if you want to get all these answers, I want you to return to my YouTube channel. And the best way to remember to do that is to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I post a new video each week. So check out my next video because I'm going to be sharing with you the most important pages that you need to include for your simple webinar funnel. Your simple webinar funnel. Like this video, subscribe, and have a lovely day. Blah, 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 blah. Call to action. Gosh, my brain just went.